What's up, guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Hybrid Mongoose podcast. And today's guest is Fitzcity, guys. What a great guy. This was a great podcast. We both were at GoFest. We did not meet, unfortunately, but, still, there's always next year and everything. But actually, there's a couple people I didn't actually meet. I didn't meet Famous either, surprisingly. Our schedules just didn't meet up. I didn't see his message on Twitter. Then he didn't see my message back later on in the day. And then we were going to different parties, and just ends up being that way sometimes. But anyway, Fitzcity is a Pokemon Go Hub writer as well as a YouTuber. Check out the link in the description below. And before this podcast starts, I have a short plug to my Patreon, guys. Yeah, and this is my Patreon here, guys. It definitely helps a lot. I have some friendship tiers. If you want to become friends, we can exchange some gifts, and you could do a lot to help the podcast and help the channel in general. But without further ado, let's get right into the podcast. And welcome my special guest, Fitzcity, Pokemon Go Hub writer and YouTuber. Welcome to the podcast.
What's happening?
So, you were at GoFest this year, right?
I was at GoFest. I was last year also.
Yeah, me too. I was in the I have to say, like, overall as an event, I couldn't tell you how, scared I was at the very beginning. As soon as they got the QR code, and I'm like, they said no lines, right? Okay, let's spin the Pokestop, and I'm like, please work, and I was so happy that it actually it started working. Everything was right away. Everything was spawning. I got to hand it to Niantic this time. They really did nail that event.
They did. It worked really well. I was confused when they said no lines, and then more confused when I showed up. I was like,
right.
Oh my gosh, we can just walk in the park. I was thrown off by that.
Right.
But overall, yeah, the event, playing it was pretty much flawless. I mean, unless you're Verizon, there was a dead zone around the desert habitat.
I heard about that. Yeah, I heard about that.
It was short-lived, though. Maybe a little bit longer the first day, but the second day was only about, my group, we think maybe 2 hours at the most. But it was fixed shortly thereafter, though.
Yeah, I was on T-Mobile, and it worked great. I had no issues pretty much the whole time. There was one specific area kind of in the middle where I sort of had issues, and the only reason I knew that is because I was actually don't tell anybody, I was live streaming. And I probably wasn't supposed to, but I did it anyway. And I could tell there was a certain section in the middle that people would be like, oh, the stream's down or whatever. And it's but other than that, the fact that I was actually even able to live stream is amazing. Honestly, it's amazing. So
they went overkill, I think, on purpose, obviously, because last year was a disaster. But here's one thing that's interesting. They had in the park Wi-Fi, but I heard it was borderline unplayable. That's what I heard with the Wi-Fi. So it's good that they had the actual cell services boosted so much that people didn't have to rely on the Wi-Fi anyway, because if it was the other way around, it would have been like last year because the Wi-Fi was borderline unplayable.
Right. And I did talk briefly with Famous in the little mini episode podcast on his channel about this, and it's I work in IT, so I know what it would take to actually do long distance Wi-Fi like that, and it would take a lot of work. If it wasn't already set up, it would be extremely difficult to set something like that up and get it all working in a short period of time. Because so you could do it, but it would take a lot more work than moving those towers into place and just going here you go, here's boosted signal. So they did it the right way for sure.
Yeah, they did. I was pumped. The only thing that I thought was really interesting, though, I actually just wrote an article about it. The top 3 things missing at GoFest.
Oh, that's interesting.
It seemed like a roast article, but it really wasn't, because it was from a personal perspective since I was being there. And I've talked to a lot of people that were there too, including my friends and whatnot. And everyone agreed so far. It seemed like a lot of people that didn't agree were the ones not there. Go figure. But
of course. Yeah.
Let's see. It was 3 things. It was we'll go with the easiest one. It was a lack of Pokestops in the middle. I don't know if you noticed, on the sides, obviously it was lit. There was a ton of Pokestops.
Oh, yeah.
But in the middle, where it was kind of most important because of the habitats, there was hardly any, and you could sometimes go 500 feet without the next Pokestop. And
Yes.
for any event in all of Pokemon Go, I've never spent money on Pokeballs, but this time I got 300 Pokeballs. I bought 300 Pokeballs for the first time I got it.
Right.
Because you had to be in the middle technically, for most of the event. I guess you would say not all, but most of the event.
Yeah.
And I figured that was kind of one of the main issues. And then, of course, people would rebut, say, "Well, why didn't you go to GoFest with a bunch of Pokeballs?" I was there with like 400 to start off with, so.
I mean, I was there with a lot too, but oh my god, because of all of these community days and everything else, I will not transfer a shiny. Like, I can't do it.
Absolutely.
So the problem is even after clearing out most of my storage, I had like maybe 250 slots, which got eaten up just like that. There was a point at GoFest where I was only catching like unknowns, Torkels, and like shiny checking, like, because I got so full. And it's just like, one big thing I have to say is, because they did put out that article about, increasing the Pokemon storage 500 more, they definitely should have done it before GoFest. Like, I would have said, shut up, take my money here. I'm going to buy all the Pokecoins to just max it out right now and not have to deal with it, because I feel like my experience at GoFest would have been even better. Like, it was good, but I think I would have been coming home with a lot more stuff if it weren't for the fact that, I had to like kind of be reserved in a way. It'd be like, crap, I can't. I was getting full, and I had to like IV check like 3 or 4 and transfer them, and I'm just like, with an event going on like that, if they would have opened up that 500 space, man, we would have just been catching for days. It would have been a lot more manageable. So
Absolutely.
So it kind of makes me sad that there's like, we still don't have it, and it's like they keep throwing more shinies at us, and it's just like, come on, man, we can't transfer these.
Right, and it's not like it's not going to happen. Like, they're gonna up it.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Before GoFest would have been kind of cool, but I feel like they're saving that for Gen 4. It's just a marketing pitch kind of thing.
Oh, you think? Yeah, that makes sense.
That's when they'll maximize the revenue for that, because only a handful of people are going to GoFest compared to everybody else. But you mentioned a good point about just farming Torkels, unknowns, and shinies. That's what I was doing for the most part.
Yeah, yep.
Because after the event, when I sat down and talked to my brother, I was like, you know what? How many different kinds of Pokemon species were there at the event? And we counted roughly only 45. And I felt like that lacked the Pokemon experience, the full experience as well, because there's a lot of people that go there that live in like a rural area, or they just don't see very many rare spawns. And we actually didn't have very many rare spawns. There were still no Dratinis, Mareeps, Larvitars.
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
Beldum was spawning outside of GoFest.
I saw that, in the city and stuff, yeah.
No Chanseys even. Like, there were a lot. Like, that's not a complaint. That's just an observation that I saw. And some people were looking for the full experience. And, farming Torkels and unknowns and shinies, it's fun, but it got repetitive, so to speak. I still enjoyed it, but I noticed that something was missing after the fact, after I went home and really thought about GoFest.
Right, and I think the reason why they did all that is really, obviously, is because of Celebi Quest and the way that it lined up. Walk to the biomes, do these types. So I get why they did it. It was a slick way, honestly. Habitats kind of blew me away a little bit. I was kind of like, wow, these are actually well made. They actually are fun. They're doing like these little like giveaways and stuff at them. I actually thought it was really cool. But you're right. Definitely towards like the upper, like the entrances, they definitely should have been spawning like some Dratini or Larvitar or something.
More shiny chances, right?
Exactly.
That was the theme sort of too on top of the event.
It was.
So they missed out on some like more rarer ones, so to speak. And some people also don't get to partake in community days too.
Right.
It sounds kind of crazy, but it's only 3 hours. Some people work and they can't partake in that. So
yeah, no, I've heard of people that work, like they either work the night shift or they work during the weekends. Like their work schedule doesn't fit into that, and that's that just breaks my heart, you know. Like
Yeah.
it's like God. So
Well,
I mean, it's the same thing with Mewtwo as well, though. I mean, there's a lot of people that don't have Mewtwo. They've never gotten EX Pass. Some people get EX Passes, but it's at a time where they can not make it and things like that. And it's just like, there's always that one story of the person, I got one EX Pass and I never got to go to it because it was at this time or whatever. So I get it for sure. I get it. Yeah. So what was the highlight for you for GoFest?
The highlight. Ooh.
Because I have one in particular for me, and it's something I was going after. So it's.
That's a good. I will. I think it was cool. The rewards you got for the Celebi quest, like the Metagross, the Ludicolo. I think that was the highlight because that was. I got my Pokedex Ludicolo because I was waiting for a good one, and then I got my Pokedex Metagross too because I was waiting for a good one. So I wasn't upset that I got those, but they blew me out of the water on that. I thought that was really cool.
Right.
I would say next to that, maybe just farming the unknowns. That's pretty fun.
The Metagross, I didn't have it either, and it's because, as you know, since scanners are gone and everything, not that I ever used them, you know what I mean?
No one knows.
But Beldum doesn't spawn. Like, it's super rare for it to spawn. So, I was walking mine for a really long time, and it wasn't even good IV. Like, I was literally just walking it and going like, well, I'll get some candy. I think I was up to like about 80 or 90 candy.
Wow. So,
because I did catch some, but then I didn't get lucky with the hatches. Some people would hatch them and things like that. Right. And it's like, so I never, I never got one. So when I got the Metagross, I was like, yeah, like I was like, that wasn't my highlight though. My highlight was actually the shiny Aerodactyl that I got. Because I had you remember the rock event where you actually had to, evolve an Ammonite or a Kabuto, and you get. I used to stack those, and I did like 60 of them. Not a single one. And then I also did Aerodactyl raids on top of it. Anytime I saw an Aerodactyl raid, I was like, oh, I'm gonna do it. Didn't get a single one after all those tries. My friend Rob, who he actually got his, he did over 100.
Wow.
Over 100 of those. And he was like out every day going, getting unique Pokestops, finding them and all that stuff. And it's just like, he had to do over 100 to get his first shiny Aerodactyl. I mean, it's just, so when I got it at GoFest, I was like, yeah, finally, like, cause it's like, I worked hard to try to get it and I didn't get it. So, I only got one. And then, you see people with the crazy luck, like, God, you look at them, they're like, how many did you get? It's like 15, 20. It's like, what? You know, it's like I got 3 shiny Aerodactyls. I'm all like, what the heck is going on?
Like when we were walking at GoFest, we over around the ice habitat or whatever, there would be like a Waymore spawn, and I click on and be like, it's not shiny. I'd be like, man, none of it's shiny for us. And then next thing you know, like it's a kid behind me is like, oh, shiny Waymore. I'm like,
yeah.
Thanks for stealing it. Like every time we were trying to get a shiny, like someone right next to me got the shiny. Like,
right.
Like, no!
So did you get a chance to do Zapdos Day today?
No, I didn't.
Oh,
similar to like you said, the schedules. They only
right.
They only told us a week in advance, technically. Like
yeah, no, you're right. You're right. Yeah, because like if you were to go back a week from now, I was like all in GoFest mode, in my brain, and it's like I completely missed that information. So when I got home, of course, I'm editing videos. I edit 3 GoFest videos, and it's just like. Well, actually, it was like the whole trip, but like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm editing all these videos like crazy, trying to get them out, and then I blink and someone's like, hey, it's Zapdos Day, and I'm like, what? So it's like, uh-oh, better figure out something, so.
Yeah. Well, it looks like for anyone else that's trying to plan around it, it looks like from the events that we have, a week later, you can guarantee that's when Moltres will be. So whenever Yokosuka is, a week later, like that next weekend, that's when Moltres will be.
Right, yeah, that's what people are talking about. So
I didn't see the pattern beforehand until like now.
Yeah, you can kind of tell now. Yeah.
So I didn't notice it. So we should be able to. People should be able to get the day off. I hope. I hope.
I'm happy that they're doing these like legendary days like this. It adds another thing to the game, and it's really cool. Honestly, it's very cool. The problem is like all the Chinese ruining my storage. Yeah. I mean, before community days, I had the worst luck with shinies, like the worst. Really? Oh yeah. My first shiny was a Duskull, and it was during the Halloween event, like last year. And that was my first shiny, and I've been playing since the beginning, so it's just like, yeah. So I know the first one was shiny Magikarp. It took me like 1,500 encounters to get my first one.
Wow.
Yeah, it sucks. So I only have one still, so.
I think it took me about that many too, to be honest with you. My first shiny was Snorunt, which was after Halloween even. So, but after that, it kind of picked up a little bit. But yeah, I went a while without a shiny too. The only thing I didn't like the 3-hour legendary like shiny events are awesome, but I don't like the Squirtle community day came right after. I didn't like that. I didn't like the extreme grind 2 days in a row. I was dead after Squirtle.
Me too. Yeah, no, I'm with you there. I like it spaced out. I mean, what do you think of this double Eevee community day coming?
Well, we don't have, other than it being 2 days, we don't have much information on that. Like, why is there 2 days? That's what I'm curious
I
about.
don't know. They must be seeing something like, ooh, these people buy a bunch of this or whatever during these days. They must be keying into something that, because honestly, I don't buy stuff unless there's really events going on and stuff in the game. That's how it works for me. If I'm like, oh, I'm going to GoFest, I better buy some coins, to be ready in case I need stuff. It's like, that's how I think, So if there's no event going, I'm not buying coins. I mean, period. I'll just save up from my gyms and just go on like that. So I mean, I would believe that people are spending a lot more money during these community days and Articuno days. I mean, especially the raid passes. Come on, these people that are wafooing like 50 in 3 hours, they're definitely either they're stocked up or they're buying them. So
right.
Yeah.
Well, I have a speculation about the Eevee day. Perhaps they mentioned like the evolutions are going to be appearing more in the wild, and that's kind of hazy. I'm thinking maybe they might throw us a curveball. So on like Saturday it'll be Eevee, obviously. Vaporeons, Flareons, and Jolteons in the wild. And then Sunday's the huge kicker. Umbreon and Espeon make their like debut spawns in the wild, but only for that day. It's possible they might do it. I want to throw it out there.
I heard another speculation that they're going to introduce Gen 4 with the Eevees. But like we were talking about it, I'm like, maybe,
Right.
You never know. You never know with Pokemon, with Niantic and Pokemon Go. It's so hard to tell what's coming around the corner.
I know, especially this year. They've been killing it.
Yeah, this year's been amazing. They have really done a great job. I remember before GoFest, I was scared because of Dortmund. I was like, oh no. But when I realized how many people were at Dortmund, I was like, they are not going to allow that many people. Like there's no way there's going to be that many people at GoFest. Impossible. Because there was like, what, 170,000 people at Dortmund?
Pretty close, yeah.
That's insane. There's no way they would have ever been able to account for that.
No.
So,
absolutely not.
So, I asked this question to a lot of my guests. It's a very serious question. So, pineapple on pizza, yes or no?
Only, I dabble a little bit with it, but it only has to be from Papa John's.
Oh, okay.
So I like, because it's the ham pineapple combo on Papa John's pizza.
Yeah.
I'll eat that. I don't mind it. But otherwise, I mean, if I could steer clear from it, I will. But will I eat it? Yes. So I can't say.
Yeah. I just curious to ask because, like, me and Elijah Watts were going back and forth on Twitter for a long time about, pineapple on pizza, and it's like even Reversal was getting into it a little bit too, like, because he doesn't like it and I don't like it either, and then like Elijah does, and I just think it's a funny thing to ask, really.
It is.
I think it's just a funny thing to ask. So I want to talk about you being a writer for Pokemon Go Hub, which honestly, I've loved that website forever. You know, like honestly, one of my videos was featured in an article before,
Ooh.
which was you know, I have a video of a long time ago of catching a spoofer red-handed. Like I literally take the gym, they take it back like instantly, and there's like 4 people in it or 2 people in it.
Wow.
Like right away. And apparently there was a method before where they could set up these bots to kind of like, if a gym was being taken, they would automatically take it back. I forget who wrote the article, but I have it linked somewhere or saved. But they used my video as an example.
That's cool. That's really cool.
And I was like, yeah, you know, Go Hub, yay, you know, like. So my question is like, how did you actually get that job? I'm very curious to know.
So Antonio, most of you guys know him as Gone. He's the one that writes the articles under that name. He's the boss. He's the guy that created the Go Hub, and he had a clearing of staff members, so to speak. Long story. I mean, if you ever want to hear it, just talk to him. I don't know if I even have the rights to tell the story, so.
Ooh, tell us. No, I'm just kidding.
But basically, it was let's see, last December. Of course, I was following the Go Hub already because I got all my information from them. Right. And he put out basically like, hey, we need people to write articles. Is anyone interested? And he threw that out there on Twitter once. And I'm like, oh, this is interesting because I started my YouTube channel to help out the community and inform people and whatnot.
Right.
Whatever. I'm like, this would be another great way to help out the community. I could write articles, details, stuff like that. So a couple of days went on, and then I think it was another post because must have been having troubles finding people to write articles. Some people just simply don't like to write papers, you know, like from school and whatnot. So so I was like, you know what? I'll email them, give it a try. This was in December, I would say around December 17th. Might have been a little bit earlier than that of last year. Yeah. And I wrote a mock article. We talked and whatnot. I started learning the formats and the layouts of the articles and whatnot. And ever since then, he hired me on, and here I am writing articles for the Go Hub.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. So what was your first article that you wrote for them?
Oh.
I'm just curious what it was.
You know what? I think it was a Reg Ice article, actually.
Oh, really?
We were writing the family guides for those because Gen 3 was just slowly rolling out. So we're like, let's go ahead and cover the family guides, you know, what you want and everything you need to know about Reg Ice, Reggie Rock, and Reggie Steel. I think I wrote all 3 of those, to be honest, the family guides. So if you were to like to search those 3 Pokemon under Gen 3 at the website, it'll be written by me and you can learn all the information and whatnot. But I think it was Reg Ice. I think Reg Ice was my first article.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. So, like, you know, it's funny because, like, I get a lot of my information from Go Hub, right? But now I'm curious if you're writing an article, where do you get your information from? Because it's funny because, like, you know, as a YouTuber, you know, I like to, like, you know, I use Go Hub a lot for, like, you know, different information, little things like, oh, that's actually super effective versus this, whatever, you know? And it's just like, I'm like honestly just really curious, like where do you get your information from if, you know, when you're going to write an article?
Right. Well, a lot of it has to do with my Pokemon background already.
Okay, that's cool.
Like I've memorized all the typings and the super effectiveness and whatnot. I played Pokemon Sapphire, Emerald. You know, I played all the Pokemon games up till now, so I have a good general understanding of Pokemon per se.
Yeah.
Like moves. I'm also an electrical engineering major, so I'm pretty good at math. I calculate a lot of DPSs and stuff on my own.
That's awesome.
And this is gonna be funny. Antonio would probably kill me for this, but before the Go Hub and when I started following them, I actually was looking at the Sylph Road because they have that Pokedex thing.
Right.
Gen 1, I memorized everything. I can tell you almost any Pokemon stats. Maybe not exactly, some of them exactly, but I can give you a range of like what their attack, the HP, CP.
That's crazy.
Moves. Like I just memorized it because Pokemon Go was amazing back then. You know, it is now, but like the hype was oh my gosh, the level was like way up here. So I was like, I'm just gonna start memorizing this stuff so I can inform like my public, you know, and people in my communities because I just like being full of information. But I would say if I used any other sources, it'd be like Bulbapedia or Cerebi because they have like some moves to talk like future, like what are future community day moves or something like that. So I look at their moves from the main series game and stuff because that's what Niantic pulls off from. So those would probably be the two main places I would get some of my information from. But other than that, I just kind of pull it out of my head for the most part.
Well, that's cool. Yeah, I was just curious because it's just like some of the information is just like, like the DPS and things like that. So when you're calculating DPS, how do you usually calculate that?
Well,
where do you start is what I mean.
Well, you start with the damage of how much the move does,
right?
And then we all know the time frames at this point in time. Like it's posted on the Go Hub, so I get the time frames from there already. And then you do the division of the DPS, how much damage it does per second, if the time frame. Like if the move does 10 damage and it takes a second, that's 10 DPS.
Gotcha.
And then you got 20% if it does stab. So you just, add 20% to the damage and then do the DPS. And then if it's weather boost, that's another 20%. So 40%, add that to the damage and then divide the DPS out. So you can do some really scratch work, so to speak, to get it done. And that way you can get the article out a little bit faster.
Right. Yeah. I was just curious because I've like literally never done that. I've never found a need to just like figure out the DPS, right? So it's not something that I'm just like, oh, that's what I go to Go Hub for, right? It's like, you tell me what the DPS is.
Like I had to make one up because I did an article for Ho-Oh, like how can they fix Ho-Oh? Because Ho-Oh is not a good Pokemon.
Yeah, it's so sad.
It is, and it's my favorite Pokemon anyway. So I'm like, I gotta do an article on this. So basically what it was I took Sacred Fire, an exclusive move for Ho-Oh in the main series games, and a lot of people are saying, well, they should make it a charge move. Well, I disagree with that. It needs to be a quick move because it does not have a fire quick move, and it'd be exclusive to it only. So in that article, I calculated DPSs for that move. I made it, like 22 damage, and then did DPS based off that. Because if it's going to be exclusive fast move, it's got to be one of the most powerful fast moves in the game.
I mean, right. Well, it's a huge bummer that Ho-Oh's best charge moves are Solar Beam and Brave Bird, which is a crime because it is kind of a fire type Pokemon a little bit. So it's and because you've played the main series games and about like, it just kind of makes me sad a little bit because like a lot of the actual like what is it called, balancing is kind of off in the game for sure, because it's like there are certain Pokemon that you could play with in a main series game and you could just ride it through and you'd still be good. You know what I mean? Like you could still take a Pidgeot, power that sucker up, level it up, and it would still be useful in the final battle.
Exactly.
The problem is I think they kind of imported everything in, and some of the stats don't really mean anything, because you remember when the speed stat wasn't really calculated at one point, and all of the psychic stuff like was weak, and they did like this huge revamp, and all of a sudden like your Dragonites and your Alakazams are all like higher out of nowhere, and it's just like I wish there was a way to fully balance it because there's so many good Pokemon that could be useful.
I did another article on how they implement actual speed in the game, like actual speed. Like, because I didn't know this, but Electrode in Gen 1 is like the fastest Pokemon in Gen 1.
Really?
Like, yeah, it's like one of the fastest ones. I looked at the base stats. It's like 140. It's huge. It's massive.
Gotcha.
So what the article based off of was what, like, maybe take the base stats of the speeds of Pokemon, look through those, and have a cutoff point. If a Pokemon's base stats 100, the move itself does the normal speed it does. Like if it takes a second to go off, it takes a second to go off. But for every 10 speed stat going up, maybe decrease the speed it takes to put off that move by like 1 millisecond or half a millisecond.
Definitely.
You know what I mean? So that means that Pokemon's getting that move off quicker, and would make sense because it's a faster Pokemon. It can't be too overpowered, because it would have to be small decreases in the time the move can go on.
Definitely, you don't want to take like a Jolteon and be like, he's insane now. He just murders things, you know.
Yeah. So it'd be it'd be carefully calculated to where it's like Electrode's not the best electric type in the game,
Right.
But yeah, that was a difficult article to write, but I hope Niantic sees it though, because there's just like Suicune. Suicune is pretty fast Pokemon, and it's really bad in Pokemon Go, and it should be way better than Vaporeon because it's way better than Vaporeon in the main series games. So
yeah, definitely. Yeah, well, it's funny because now like all the Reggies, right? We're all like, it's the same thing as Suicune. I swear, it's like everyone's gonna get their Reggie Steel, and that's gonna be it.
Yeah,
I got the unlock, and I'm done. Bye. You know,
it's sad because Reggie Steel's cool, I think.
Reggie Ice is cool. I mean, they're all cool. It just sucks. It sucks. I mean, Suicune's cool. It's just the problem is like, if they made Suicune stronger than Vaporeon, of course everybody would have been going for it. But now, I mean, yeah, they definitely need to do some more balancing, because it's like even a Nidoking or Queen can be useful in the main series game, and then super powerful, you know, and it's just like in this game they're nothing, you know, and it's they definitely need to take more things from the main series games to kind of try to balance it. The whole CP thing, I mean, I guess it works, but it's definitely created like a 20-30 Pokemon that are useful, and then the rest are kind of like throwaways. They're Pokedex unlocks, and that's it. So, and
it's good that we still talk about it, because the more we like complain about it, the more it stays around and they might hear it, because I know we've been complaining about it for a pretty long time. That Suicune being an issue, Ho being an issue, and other Pokemon being an issue as well.
Right.
Because the more we talk about it, we need to keep it alive, because it needs fixed. I think if we got another Pokemon overhaul before like a PvP or something, I think a lot of people would be happy about that.
Well, it's cool because in the main series game, you can kind of pick your team whatever you want, right? Within reason, right? I think I tried to use there was a couple Pokemon I tried to use, and I was just like, you are not cutting it. I got to get rid of you in like a main series game. But I mean, for the most part, you can kind of pick your team and go with it, you know?
Yeah.
And like I was using a Breloom in Alpha Sapphire, and oh my God. Had some good fighting moves, and it was just like sky uppercut your face to oblivion, you know. And I was like, yes, you know, this Pokemon's evil, you know, can dot, you know, damage over time things and all. I mean, it was just a cool Pokemon, right? And it's like I had that one from like a very little Shroomish all the way up until the end, and it's really cool when you do that. You know, you take something that was like, whatever, and then you like you just keep it with you the whole way up, and you know, it's just like, you get that bond with that Pokemon in the game, right? It's just like, and it's like, it's hard to do that with Pokemon Go, and I want that for Pokemon Go, you know?
Yes, same here. And I was just talking with my girlfriend, like, I'm sick of using Tyranitars. You have no idea.
Right.
I want these other stuff.
Right.
It's getting... well, because after, you know, like you and me, we started ever since the game came out, it's starting to get repetitive. Like, the game is a joy overall, and there's enough to keep us in it, absolutely, without a doubt. But
for sure,
Pokemon over and over again and whatnot, I'm not enjoying that too much. It's I'm kind of going downhill on that. I just don't.
Right. And the whole PvP thing, it needs to come soon, obviously. That'll change some things. And I hope when they do that, they know that there's some issues going on right here, because there's going to be some like teams that people make that are just going to be cheap and overpowered. You know it's coming. People are going to figure it out and go, "Oh yeah, I figured out if you do this, then you just win." You know? So that's coming, and when that happens, then they'll actually be forced to balance things, which is good. Which is good. I don't think they're fully aware of it yet, because people aren't complaining about this one team or this one other team or whatever. And it's just like, you know, main series games, things are definitely more balanced. You can kind of, you know, like I said, you can pick your team. You can pick whatever you want. You know, you don't have to stick with whatever, unless you're, I mean, obviously, if you're like a tournament player, you're sticking to a certain meta and you're doing whatever. But if you're just playing the game, you know, the story and everything, of course you can pick whatever you want. You can power up and level whatever you feel like, you know? So it's just, I miss that, you know? Right now, currently, Pokemon Go, I actually, well, which is cool. It's also powerful in its own right. Is I am more attached to the Pokemon because of memories attached with it, rather than like this Pokemon is this powerful or whatever. So it's like, you know, like for instance, this last Go Fest, I was at a private dinner with all the biggest YouTubers, which I still felt like I don't even know why I'm here. Am I in the wrong place? I know I'm downplaying myself, but I mean it's just crazy to be like I'm sitting with the giants, right? I'm sitting with Mystic Seven and Trainer Tips and Reversal and everybody, literally everybody, the biggest people, and I'm sitting there eating dinner with them and everything, and it just it was I caught a Minum. We were all like sitting at the table catching stuff, and a couple people got shinies, and I caught a Minum, and it's just like I named that like YouTuber Dinner 2018. Like I just like I'll never trade that Pokemon ever, and then we also caught 100% Jinx at the table too.
Oh man,
yeah. So we were just sitting there just chilling, and it's just like that. Of course, I'm never gonna trade. It's just like I feel like those memories attached are it's just like. I'll never trade that because of this or whatever, and it's just like my one friend Zabowski, you may know her. She's actually she's like really a top leveler for XP wise. I think she was like 6th or so. She lives with Holly, Pokemon Master Holly.
Okay, it's ringing a bell. Yep.
Okay, so she I have a Pokemon like we used to be neighbors. She lives in Vegas now, so small world. But there's a Pokemon like we used to play early on in the game, and I had her game, and I like named one of her like Arcanines like my real name's David, so I was like I said like Dave was here or something like that. It just named the Pokemon. She's like not getting rid of that Pokemon.
That's cool.
Just because and there's like other little things like that. Just it's cool like the community that it is created like.
Absolutely.
And after the raids really kind of brought everybody together. I felt the rating update. So, so the trading update that just recently came, which was probably one of the biggest updates to the game in who knows how long. How do you feel about that? Are you good with that, or are you?
Mostly yes.
Okay.
That made trading 100% IVs impossible. I didn't like that because I had some friends that I wanted to give some Pokemon to. I mean, I understand why. That's the thing. The reason why I call it history, but at the same time, I understand what they're doing. The thing is, I think there's going to be tweaks to it because we got the gyms, and we got the new gym meta change and whatnot for that update. So there's a change there. Overall, trading's okay. The Stardust cost might be a little bit too much. Might be just a little bit too much. Because just like Trainer Tips said, traveling around and trying to trade some really awesome rare Pokemon is borderline impossible. So maybe some changes there. I don't think I've talked about this on my YouTube channel or with any of the Go Hub peeps, but I recommended maybe that they have trade passes, special trade passes.
Oh, that's a good idea.
We spend money on those, but don't make them 100 coins, make them 50. So people can actually get 2 free passes a day, because you'd spend a gem and maybe get a free one, just like the raids.
I like that idea.
And then you can get another one if you're active in the gym meta and get another 50 coins, and you can do another special trade. Now, the free ones don't stack, obviously, as the regular raid passes don't. Right. But you can keep buying, ones off the store for 50 coins. I think that'd be a great idea.
That's a really good idea. Yeah, that definitely is. But you see the other side, though, right? They're trying to stop the whole black market thing and all that other stuff. Yeah. And I get that side, too. They may have to make a stipulation where you can use the free trade passes as long as they're, like, great friends or something like that.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like make it so it's a little bit harder. That way, you have to work towards that. Because if they made it just like, hey, we're just good friends right off the bat, we can start trading, it could still potentially cause a black market to happen because people could just get a trade pass, and just instantly start trading with people.
Right. I just wonder, I'm sure there's still people out there right now offering money even though they limitations for trades though. I'm sure someone's out there hustling though.
Oh yeah, yeah. I've heard of stories of people like, I have this, it's this much, and I'm like, what? Like, who's doing that? Like honestly, today I actually finished my Kento decks, which was great. You know, I had all of it except for Mr. Mime, and I didn't have Mr. Mime, and I didn't have Kangaskhan. And I was hanging with Zoe Two Dots a lot during GoFest, and I wanted one of her stupid Kangaskhan from Australia so bad, and she already had like trades already lined up. So like I could have gotten it if I would have stayed one more day, but I was leaving that day. She's like, "Oh, why aren't you staying till Tuesday?" And I'm like, because you know, obviously it's the special trade, so it counts as that one trade, so it's over. So I ended up getting I traded with somebody local today who actually went to a wedding in Australia for it. So it was it was really cool. I was just like, yeah. So and it was his only one, and he wanted to trade it with me. Like, so I was like, oh, his name is Minion. Thank you, Minion, if you're watching this. He actually was just like, I want to help you, you know. And I'm like, are you serious? I'm like, are you sure? Like, because you know it's your only one. I did trade him a Torkoal in you know. So tried to help him out too. So yeah, but
that's cool. That's
yeah.
Cool.
I mean, I have all these unknown question marks. I'm not gonna like go on my local Facebook and be like, hey, $5, you know, like give me $5. You can have an unknown question mark, you know.
I tell you what, that was probably the best thing I liked about GoFest. It's like, oh my gosh, look at this trade leverage I have.
Oh yeah, seriously, I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, ooh, question mark, that one's mine. You know, like, yeah. And I don't know about you, but I was throwing pineapples at literally everything.
I wasn't doing that. I
pineapped everything. I was like, I ended up with like 350 unknown candies.
Holy cow. That's insane.
Yeah, I have like 170 Torkoal candy. I was just pineapping everything.
That's a pretty good idea.
Well, because like you're never gonna get a chance to farm these Pokemon, right? Especially unknown. So it's just like, I was like, you know what? If they run, they run. None of them ran. None of the unknowns ran. The only things that ran for me were like Mudkips and stupid stuff that I don't care about. So I was just like, yeah, go ahead, run. Yeah, but the important stuff didn't run, so that was good. But yeah, how did you do shiny wise there that day?
I got like, I don't count the shiny pluses and minus because I felt like they only increased for everybody.
Oh geez, if we don't count that, then I did terrible.
Well, okay, let's count them. I think I got at GoFest. I got, I think, 3 shiny pluses and 2 shiny minus. I got a shiny Whalmer, and I think that's it. To be honest, I didn't get other like very unique ones. I did get 2 more shiny pluses, like just outside my house on the way home. But,
whoa, that's good.
Other than that, yeah, shiny Whalmer was the highlight, so to speak, because that was a very unique one.
Yeah, I got a shiny Whalmer during the water event, luckily. But I'm actually pulling up the game right now so I can take a look at it because I want to count how terrible, like, because I got 5 shiny pluses like during that time. So if you just count GoFest alone, I really only got 2 shinies.
Gotcha.
Which is a shiny Aerodactyl and a shiny Pikachu.
I caught a shiny Pikachu also.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, I did.
But if you talk about that whole weekend, I got like 12 shinies or so because I got 1 shiny Aeron on the Navy Pier.
Nice.
Which was really, you know, it's cool. And then I got, you know, the one at the YouTube dinner I already told you about. And then, like, I got to mine them that morning, that first morning that they were released. Like, the very next day, we went out to go get coffee, and I just saw one and clicked on it. And it was, like, maybe the 3rd or 4th one, and it was a shiny. And I was like, whoa. And I thought mine was definitely more rare than Plusle, in my experience.
Me too. Because I only got 2 Minans and I got like 6 Plusles. I thought the same thing. But I mean, I heard the other way around, so it's more, you know, common to get Minans than Plusles.
Really?
So I don't know. It's hit and miss, I guess, for people's RNGs anyway. So
it really is. It's really pure luck. It's pure luck. In terms of Zapdos Day, I'm gonna tell you this, and it's giving it away for my video, and I don't care because it's so amazing. I just have to tell you. I'll have to stay up all night and edit that video anyway to get it out. But
right.
So I had an opportunity, and it's funny because Reversal just posted something about saying something like, sorry if this video is not that enjoyable. I was just doing a bunch of wafu rating and blah blah blah, and I had an opportunity to do a wafu, which that group did about 45 over 45 last Articuno Day. So I had an opportunity to go with them. And my buddy, who I went to a different area this time, he was like, hey, do you want to go to, we can either go do wafu or we can hang out with these people. You're going to meet more people this way, but it's going to be a lot less raids. And I said, let's just meet the people. I don't care,
Yeah.
So I ended up having a much funner time just hanging out. And, we even backed out a couple times because people were late. Missed a turn or something. And we're like, it's cool. Yeah, go ahead. We'll jump out and jump back in. One time we were almost done with it and we jumped out.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it's just like, honestly, it's not that serious. So, we only did 22, okay? Which is not that high of a number.
Well, high in my standards. We'll get to that in a second, though. Go ahead and finish.
But we only did 22. Out of that 22, I got 6 shinies, okay?
Holy cow!
Yeah. Super lucky.
Whew.
4 of which were in a row. Not a joke. So that is going to be an incredible video.
I can't wait to watch that one.
Because by the time the third one happened, the person in the backseat was like, "What the beep?" Like super loud. I'm gonna have to bleep the whole thing out. I'm like, and then the fourth one was crazy because apparently 4 strikes in a row because they were talking about me getting a turkey, like in bowling. Apparently 4 strikes in a row is called an albatross or something.
Yep.
And they were chanting albatross when I was going to check. No, it was so cool. They're like albatross, and I was just like, I clicked on it and it was like, what? So it's such a good. It sucks that you missed it, man.
The girlfriend did play for me though. They did about.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, and she caught 2 shinies for me. One was 97.8%, so that's nice.
That's amazing.
Going back to why I thought 22 is a lot is where I live. There's some decent drives in between each gym. That's where the issue arises. It's not as clustered. I mean, I'm trying to think for the route that they did today because I knew what the route was, even though I was at work. The route that they did today, there was probably a 3-minute drive, and then there was a lot of race downtown, and then after that, probably another 5-6 minute drive to a park, and then so it was a lot of driving around. So 19 was a lot for the most part.
Right. Yeah, no, I get it. If they're spaced out, it's definitely going to be harder. The area that I live closest to is called the biggest city you could say is probably called Mount Clemens, and that group did about 39, which actually I feel like that's a lot because they're not that clustered together. And I guess the other Wafu Raiders, they went to Ferndale and that's where they did 45 plus or something like that. So they must know where all the clusters are, right? They must know where all of them are. Here's 5 gyms right here. So it's definitely cool. And I feel like I would be the worst Wafuer for a whole day. I'll be honest with you, it'd be 3 hours and I'd be like, okay, just drop me off over here. I'm gonna go get food. You guys can keep going.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll meet up with you guys later. You can call me a casual if you want. That's great. But I don't know if I can hang for those guys are seriously hardcore. I don't know if I can hang for as long as they can. For sure. Because I've heard stories of because I live in an area and it's no joke. A lot of my friends are 100 mil.
Wow.
A lot of my friends are 100 mil, and it's kind of crazy to say that, but it's true. Either in between 80 and 100 mil.
Wow.
So Zabowski's like 130 mil. So it's just like I'm playing with these people where I'm only at like 35 mil, and I'm like scrub the century, right? Like I barely play in their eyes, right?
Right.
So it's funny to, they would be like, "Oh, you're so weak," for like, it's just no, I want to enjoy the game. I don't want to hate the game. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So,
like the Articuno day, I think we did 17, and it felt like I was stressing out the whole time. I'm like, I got to get these raids in because I got my shiny Articuno on the last 30 seconds of the last gym on that day. So like I wasn't getting the shiny the whole time until the very end. So I was like stressing out, but also coordinating raids, making sure the group stay together. It's just like
that's super stressful. Yeah.
It's exhausting. Like, so I'm glad it's only 3 hours. And I mean, I can hop on a raid train on a normal day and go around and whatnot. But kind of like you said, well, if I gotta use a restroom or I gotta go eat, like
yeah.
I'm not super hardcore into it. But like I'll go out for a raid train, but let's do a casual raid train. So,
yeah, that's kind of how we did it too. We would go there, we let people catch for a little bit. We'd wait about 2-3 minutes and be like, okay, we should probably get back to the car.
Yeah.
We gave ourselves some time to really enjoy it, and we honestly had fun. I feel like a pure Wafu can be, I believe that's why a lot of them they just rent those big vans with like 4 seats, 4 rows, because it's like you're going to be most efficient if you're not waiting for someone to get there. If someone misses a turn, that can all factor in slowing down your time. So you want your raid group to be with you the whole way. Mm-hmm. So it totally makes sense. And obviously, no matter what raid you're doing, if you have level 40s, you could fit your team in that one bus and you just keep going.
Yeah.
So it's definitely a cool idea. But it's funny. I'm like one of the level 40s that may be kind of weird to some. It's like once I hit 40, which happened last summer, I stopped caring about XP.
I can see that.
Pretty much, almost like all of that XP that I've gotten has been practically from like pure grinding. I don't do mass evolves anymore. That was one of the things I actually hated. I was done. Yeah. Now I think I changed my mind a little bit. If there's a double XP event, I will definitely start using lucky eggs and doing mass evolves, because I feel like that was a waste. I didn't do it then,
right?
And I was just like, I could have done it, and it would have helped a lot. But yeah. So me myself, I don't actually care about XP. A lot of people see that number and they want it to go up. I actually feel like it's a pretty good achievement for not ever using really lucky eggs. Right. I did use lucky eggs during the Articuno day, of course today, because it's a lot of experience, but overall I don't really care about that number that's at the bottom of my profile, to be honest. So
I only care about it, like you said, around events, double XP events or something. I'd be like, well, I should probably grind some XP because
definitely
good opportunity to do it, and also at the same time I'm trying to get rid of some of my lucky eggs because of the bag space. Like all these boxes that we get that are fantastic,
right?
A ton of lucky eggs, and I'm like,
I know.
Like I'll take them, and that's fine. It's a good deal, but like I'm only going to use these during like double XPs or a big raid train one day or something. That's the only time I'm going to use these. So yeah, I'm the same way, absolutely.
Yeah, and I have so many lucky eggs still. Like right now, it's not even funny. Like I have too many. And what also is funny is because like I said, I haven't done any mass evolves. I have over 5,000 Rattata candy. I have like what I'm saying is, if I ever were to do lucky eggs, I'd be ready for a long time. I could probably do 7 in a row, to be honest with you. As long as I stocked up correctly with the correct Pokemon, I probably could sit there and do 7 in a row. Like
right. Which is actually, that's a nice commodity to have, though. Technically, you're ready for the next XP event or whatever, so you can just pop through and grind through those and get rid of some of that backspace too.
Yeah, I'm waiting for that now. I mean, part of me likes seeing that. It would be cool to see, because I remember what it felt like to be like, oh, I got like 80K that that lucky egg.
Yeah.
You know, you'd see that number pop
fun.
up, and you're like,
Yeah.
yeah. You know, and it's just like if you don't, I mean, if you just grind the normal way, that's insane.
Mhm.
Because I hit 40 right before raids were really a thing, and nowadays, you know, which I feel like is a feat. I mean,
Yeah.
raids were very early on
Yeah.
when I hit 40. My friend Eli, I think he just hit level 40. You may have heard of him before. He's level 40 teamless.
I think so. I think I've seen that.
He does not. I cannot believe you see how many we call them raid babies, right? So all they do is raid. They got like 5,000 catches and they're level 40 and they've done like they just do lucky egg raids, you know, that's all they do. But which is it's fine. People play their own way if that's what they want to do. I don't care. You know, you're still level 40 to me. I mean, it doesn't matter. But the fact that, you know, seeing how easy it is to level that way compared to the way that Eli leveled, oh my God, he leveled pure grind. That's all he did, literally. He only leveled by catches. He can't even do raids. So it's way more impressive to see that and go, whoa, you know, like. Because, like, these people that raid all the time don't really realize how hard it was to hit level 40 before the raids were around.
Before then, or even get close for that matter.
Yeah, I was level 39 at GoFest last year.
Oh, wow.
I hit 40 like a month after that. So raids were around, but it wasn't like I didn't use that to level up is what I mean.
Yeah, I know it.
Yeah. So I was almost there. I was super close.
That's crazy.
And I was like I said, I'm like the weird guy. When I hit 38, I was like, I don't have a reason. I hit 38, I can level them up all the way. Like, what is my purpose for hitting these last two levels? And everyone's just like, you should just hit, because I could have hit 40 way sooner, I swear. Like, way sooner. I sat on level 38 forever.
Yeah, I think when I hit 38, I had that mentality. I was like, you know, it's not a race. And then I hit 39. I'm like, let's do it.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
Once I hit 39, I was like, lucky egg everywhere. Like, no matter where I was playing, I would just had a lucky egg on, like, constantly. So now, I mean, we hit 55 minutes. Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy.
Time went by super fast, it's good. It's a good thing. You want it to go by fast. But this is the part where I like to, like answer some questions. And we do have one question. We probably would have had a lot more, but I was stupid and didn't actually, because usually I post it like a day or two before the podcast, but that's okay. It's okay. I talked longer on purpose, so we
can answer any questions in the comments section down below.
That's true. We can do that too. But this question is from a person that you might know, FLW videos. Yeah, that's it. Who's that? Famous. We know who that guy is.
Of course.
He has a question for you, and it says, do you pick your own topics, or are you assigned a general topic for GoHub?
Great question. I'm sure that's an assumption of a lot of people. Actually, the boss is really cool, and we pick our own topics for the most part. If there's some really major news, he's hyped about it like all of us are, and he'll write the articles for the real major news.
Cool.
He absolutely loves that stuff. I mean, like I said, we're all hyped about it. But like for example, when the new raid bosses just came out because of Reggie Steele, we all decided there's a first come first serve kind of basis. Who wanted to do a Alolan Marowak? Who wanted to do a Alolan Raichu? Stuff like that. So it's laid back for the most part. Sometimes he might assign some articles to us, be like, hey, let's think ahead in the future. Let's get some of these articles out. Could you do this, this, and this? And that's never an issue either. So, but I would say 9 out of 10 times, none of them are assigned. We get to choose.
That's good. That's good.
That could make it hard though too, because when there's some maybe dead spots, we really have to get creative and think of article topics to really keep the masses going. Keep people.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Into the game, because when the game is dead, I would say you could credit us at the Go Hub for keeping the game alive, and Niantic probably sees that too, because we're always pushing out content and information that people are interested in, keeping them interested in Pokemon Go. So
I will agree with that. I mean, it is honestly like, it's probably not going to happen anytime soon now because like they're just pumping out information like crazy.
Yeah.
And it's funny because like we've come a long way, right? In the 2 years, the first year of the game, there were huge dead spots. There was only events during like this time or that time, right? So like it's like, and then it got stagnant around like at the beginning of the second year. Like there were huge gaps in between stuff, and it's just like it's I would say it's probably easier right now than it was back then because there's so much speculation and so much stuff coming out.
Right.
I mean, you could do a whole article about, you know, the Gen 4 starters and
I think we actually
are they good? Yeah. Are they good? Are they going to be better than the current starters? You know, like, you know, I don't want to be a writer. I want to be I want to do just
my job.
I'm just podcaster, man. I can just talk. I'm good at thinking this stuff up, but I do not want to write about it. But no, that's cool, man. Well, definitely, guys, check out his channel. Link will be in the description below. Fitzcity, writer as well. Check out his articles. But is there anything you want to say before the podcast ends?
Well, appreciate you for having me on here. It was definitely a fun time. We're going to have to do it again because an hour just doesn't seem like enough time to talk about everything.
I know. There's like it's like a revolving door. I feel like a lot of the guests that came on already want to come back, and it's cool. It's a good feeling. So, yeah, we'll definitely have to do it again. So, and
then just like my GoHub articles, working with Pokemon GoHub, always supply the latest information and stuff on my channel too. So, like you said, links in the description down below, and follow GoHub on Twitter if you haven't already. We're always pumping out articles.
And that's going to do it for the podcast, guys. What a great guest. We'll definitely have to have him on there again. Sometimes an hour seems like it goes super fast, which it did in this instance. So that's very good. It's a very good sign. So I'll definitely have him on again. He was a great guest to kind of bounce ideas off of, and he has really good insight into the game. So it was really cool to see, you know, the analytical side of someone who actually does write articles for Pokemon Go. So, you know, if you haven't already, check out the link in the description below. Check out his channel. Also, remember to check out the Patreon if you want to help the podcast like these and help the channel in general. Make sure you check out the link in the description below as well. And that is going to do it for the podcast, guys. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Later.